everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is extremely important to me. I don't have like a platform or a following or anything, but I wanted to be able to use my creativity and my whatever platform I do have to be able to talk about everything that's going on at the moment. Something that I do and that I love doing is YouTube videos, and I wanted to be able to create a space where I could create a YouTube video to spread awareness and to talk about the issues that are at hand and to have an open, honest and raw discussion. So I hosted a Zoom meeting with some of my friends in the Black community who I went to school with, who were very, very honest and were very, very open and very kindly spent their time this evening talking to me about issues that they faced experiencing personal racism and listening to their voices and opinions on everything that is going on at the moment. I felt for me that it was really, really important to amplify the voices of the Black community. This was one of the ways that I felt I could do it. So this is a very raw and emotional discussion, but I do feel that it's very important, and thank you so much to everybody who watches this, and I really just hope that you learn something, or it makes you think, or it speaks to you, or it comforts you in some way, and that this can help spread awareness and really get people involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. There is nothing more important right now than what is going on in this world. I stand with every single person who needs a voice. Everyone in this life deserves equality, deserves freedom, and none of us are free until we all are. So yeah, enjoy guys, and thank you so much to Hope, Rachel and Kaylee, who came on and spoke about how they were feeling and the experiences, and were very, very raw and open and honest, because it's not an easy thing to do. So I decided to split these videos into two because there was so much talked about, so much good content, but there was like over an hour and a half of the Zoom call, and I really didn't want to try and cut out like over an hour of that. So I've decided to split it into two videos. This one, part one, will be about the experiences that my friends have had with racism growing up, and then part two will be more of a focus on the Black Lives Matter movement. Enjoy.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
You're right. Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Lovely. Yeah, so I wanted to put this video together because it's another thing that I can do creatively, and not that I have any platform at all, but even just some other way of doing something else that can share awareness and spread awareness about what's going on is good. So obviously, like, I wanted to talk to you guys because I, as a white person, have limited knowledge on how racism has affected me personally. Racism has never affected me personally, as in not directly. It's affected me in terms of being upset for other people and standing up for things and knowing that it's wrong, but I will have never experienced someone being racist towards me because of the colour of my skin. So I don't know who wants to start, but are you all happy to talk about some of your experiences of racism? Do you want to start there?
Yeah, okay, let's go. So I grew up, I would say, in a healthy environment in school. And I wasn't troubled by anyone, but it was only until I had left school that I started to bump into different people who probably didn't have the same exposure that I did myself, which was quite difficult to comprehend, because I remember just thinking in my head, like, I'm literally just Hope, like, what's going on? So I remember the first experience for me for racism, I got into this argument with this girl and everybody ganged up on me. It was horrible. I'd basically been like cyberbullied, and that was like my first bit of like racism, where I was called different names like gorilla and all that crazy stuff. But I think for the exposure that I had already to the world and to what my parents had taught and installed into me, I'd kind of already had a bit of a thing where it was like, oh, well, I know that's not true, so cool, whatever. And then it was kind of like one of those things, but it's not the same. I don't think I can speak the same for everybody else, and not everybody can look at a situation like that and say, yeah, cool, I can just dust myself up from that because I've been taught that way. Do you know what I mean? It's not always the same for everybody else. Recently, in terms of any racism that I've experiencing, especially during quarantine, I don't know, I think I live around some weird people, but my neighbours one who lives right across there, yeah, he is, I don't know what he's got, you know, I'm part of us, but he just doesn't like us. And that makes me feel really uncomfortable. I don't really like living around here anymore. So I think that's where I stand with any experience that I've had. Anything else I would have heard of and heard their story and stuff like that. It's very different when you have it from a personal experience. Like I can hear, okay, so for example, like last year, I think it was, when my boyfriend came to visit me in my student accommodation, he was stopped by the police and they thought that he had stuff on him. He'd stopped by the police, he had his bag rummaged through, and he'd carried like loads of chicken noodles for me. So there's just chicken noodle packets all over the floor. I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny, but there was just chicken noodle packets all over the floor. But again, it's just the assumption of, oh, because of what he looks like, he's a big black guy, you know, you'd probably find him slightly aggressive, even though he's not like that at all. So I think apart from hearing it from his point of view, like, oh, and then like a few other experiences as well, like, yeah, I'd probably say the next door neighbor was probably the worst bit of racism that I've experienced myself.
The first time I ever experienced racism, I was really, really young actually, but I didn't know that I was experienced racism until after me and my mum spoke about the experience when I'm older. But obviously, when you're like around the age of 6 or whatever age I was, I wouldn't understand it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, obviously, from the age of 3 or whatever, I grew up in Hall Green and Solihull, which are like next to each other, but they are predominantly white areas in Birmingham. So when we went somewhere for like my 6th birthday, somewhere called Earlswood, which is just past Solihull, it has like an outside sort of place where you, like a playground in a restaurant. So I was outside in the restaurant, no, outside in the playground, and then these kids kept throwing rocks at me. And I was just like, this is weird. So I ran in and told my mum, I was like, Mum, they keep shouting at me and throwing rocks. Like, I'm so confused. I was just trying to play. And then so my mum went out and goes, oh, can you please stop throwing stuff at my daughter? Like, it's not very nice. Come on, let's all play together. Let's just behave. And then my mum went back in and I carried on playing outside. So I was just doing my own thing and they kept throwing rocks still. So I went back into my mum crying. I was just like, Mum, they won't leave me alone. Like, what is going on? So my mum thought, okay, I've tried to speak to the children. I'm just going to go straight to the parents. So we literally, it was my cousin's 21st birthday, I think it was. So all my family's there. We're all there. And then my mum had to stop the meal to go up to this lady and say, can you please speak to your children? They're throwing rocks at my daughter. And she goes, yeah, it's because she's one of them kind. And my mum literally, like, I'm not gonna lie, my mum fucked her up in that restaurant. I'm not gonna lie, because my mum goes, what do you mean by she's one of them kind, and pointing towards the table? Because obviously, like, my cousin is a darker than me, mixed race but darker. My uncle's black, like, and my mum was like, what do you mean? Yeah, my mum's white. So my mum was just like, what is it that you mean? And my mum, and the worst thing is, the restaurant, to begin with, the restaurant called the police. And then my mum said, let me tell you what she said. They rang the police, they cancelled, and they kicked the woman out, and they go, you like, enjoy your meal and don't pay for anything, because I'm sorry that you had to experience that in our restaurant.
Oh.
And that was the first time. And to me, like, I always grew up, me and my older brother, we always grew up laughing, going, yeah, remember when Mum beat up the woman in the restaurant? Like, what was that even over? Like, we kept laughing, and it wasn't until I got to an age around like 13 that I could kind of actually understand. My mum goes, do you know how you all laugh at me? This is why I had to beat up the woman. Don't think that I'm just someone that goes around flipping for no reason. I'm not that. But that's why I had to do that in that situation. You have obvious acts of racism like that, and then you have, which is like direct racism, and then you have covert and indirect racism. I could sit here and just go over so many different experiences. You wouldn't even know a racist until after. And I don't think that everyone means to be racist. I don't think that every time someone does it, I don't think they mean to. But again, it's certain stereotypes that have been drilled into people's head, and drilled that because we are darker, that we are a problem. Like in school, drilled that I'm going to be the girl that's going to have a fight because of everyone else is white and I'm mixed race. I'm going to be the one that's going to be the fighter. I'm going to be the loudmouth. And I don't think people realise that when you're saying that, it is actually being racist. You assume that I'm going to fight you because of I have a darker skin tone. Like, I didn't even realise it was racism. I'm not going to lie, I didn't even realise them sort of comments are racist until now that I realise, okay, yeah, it's people being covert racist without even realising. So the reason why I think a lot of people are hurt at the moment is I'm not hurting for like me today. I'm hurting for teenage Kaylee. I'm hurting for all the memories that I didn't even realise I was being attacked. Do you know what I mean? That's why I'm hurting. But I don't even want to get emotional.
It's okay.
It's just a lot.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
All of it is a lot. Like, even with you girls, like, I think of how many times we went to India and how many times we planned and go, oh, okay, G, you go in with Hope. Lauren, you go in with Sean. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you need to go in with Rachel. And how many times? And I look back and we shouldn't have had to do that. And I didn't even realise why we was doing it. But
Yeah.
now that everything's going on, like, I realise.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's fucked. It's so fucked, but like, we've kind of just been taught without even realising to just ignore it. And as you said, Hope, like, from a young age, you was just told, like just soldier on. Like, they're going to say it, just ignore it, soldier on. And because we've been taught that for so long, it's only really now that we're like, no.
We shouldn't.
Why did we soldier on?
Yeah.
That's not okay.
And I think hearing it from your perspective as well, and this is why it's important why we have these conversations, because I can't speak for anybody else. Like, I can't speak for anybody else's experience, and it's literally just as plain as simple as that. And I think when we are portrayed in the media as being really aggressive and being really, really out there, it's because everybody wants to be heard. It's a bit like the Me Too movement. You can really say, like, I've experienced this, and me too. Like, I've experienced this as well. So my heart goes out. Like, my heart goes out to my people.
Like, I think everyone knows that it's so like, all this is so uncomfortable, and that's probably why we've just all ignored it for so long. Because you know what I mean, it's uncomfortable to call people out. It's uncomfortable to say I feel attacked right now. It's uncomfortable. So if you don't feel uncomfortable, then we're not changing anything.
No change. Yep, I couldn't agree more.
As Kaylee was just like talking and stuff, I've had like loads of memories just coming back into my head, like, you know how I do dance, whatever. And like, anytime I go up to anyone and say I do dance, they're like, oh, is it like street and hip hop straight away? And like, the first dance style that I ever learned to do was ballroom. And any time I tell people ballroom, they'd be like, ballroom? Like, and every time I go to a comp, maximum, other than me and my mum, there'd probably be like 3 black people there in a comp that's full of like hundreds of people. And then like, so when I was at my old dance school, no one knew like how to do my makeup. They'd all put like light makeup on me that did not match my skin tone. They'd be like, you can't have your hair like that. You're going to either have to have it braided and put into a bun, or you're going to have to slick it back and put it to a bun. Like, you can't wear your hair natural like that, because they won't, like, you'll get marked down for it. Like, nothing to do with my dance ability or anything. And then like, dance like has me traveling. And when I was about 14, me and my mum went to this dance convention in London. Everyone else there is dancers, so like, everyone's in their tracksuits and everything. No one's even like batting an eyelid. They're all going forward, getting their keys for their hotel room. No problem. Me and mum go forward now. Nobody else in front of us has been told to pay their bill up front. We get to the front, and like, this was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and like, they started asking us to pay the bill up front. And like, we were reading off like terms and conditions and stuff, like saying, literally said like, they take the money off your card once you've left. They were like, no, you're gonna have to pay now, before, otherwise you're not getting the key for your room. You're not getting let up into your room. Literally, I've just gone there to dance with everybody else, because that's like a passion of mine, and I can't even get into my room just to go. And then like, mum kicked up a fuss, and I think in the end they ended up giving us the card, because she was making a big queue, and there was a seat, and that's the only reason like they let us have that. And then that whole like microaggression that Kaylee was talking about, like, it happened at school one time, like when I had my afro out. And bearing in mind, like, I've really been always self-conscious about my natural hair. Obviously it's come from like, I don't know why it's come from, but so when I first started in year 10, I wore my natural hair out, and there was multiple times where my afro wasn't even that big, to be honest with you anyway, and multiple times where people were sat behind me and there was plenty of space behind me, and they'd say, your hair's too big, it's in my way. I'm like, okay, well, that's how my hair's growing out of my head. You can literally just move this way, or you can ask me, say, excuse me, can you move out of the way because I can't see? Not, your hair's too big, it's in my way. Like, okay. Which just, I've had that comment quite a bit. And then like how you were saying before, like if you're not confrontational, like not to speak up about it. I've never wanted to speak up about it, to live up to that stereotype of being like the aggressive black woman, or like people come down on me just for speaking out about stuff. So I used to literally be so quiet. Then when I'm quiet like that, people come up to me and be like, oh, you don't act black because you're not loud like everybody else. And it's just that you can't win either way.
Stuff like that about the hotel. I'd never even thought about that. I'd never even thought about that blatant racism of like, because of the colour of your skin, we don't trust you.
Taxis are the worst. That happens every single time. If you're in a taxi that's not an Uber and you have to pay cash, they'll be like, you need to pay up front.
Really?
Straight up. Like, even the fact of, I remember in the snow, like, there was just one time I went on a night out and it was snowing really, really bad, and hardly any taxis were coming into town. And we waited 3 hours because if no Ubers was coming in, you had to flag down a taxi. We waited 3 hours in the snow. We didn't want to wake my mum up. Like, we didn't want to wake her up. We literally waited 3 hours. And it's hard because, again, you don't want to say, oh, that's down to race. But why else is everyone else next to us? You pick everyone else apart from the group of black people. Why? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, well, that's the only thing that's different. So what else? And you get scared to call out racism. You get scared to say, oh, that's because of they're being racist. You get scared to, but if you boil it down, what other difference is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as soon as you use that race card, you're like, oh, you're just being sensitive. Yeah. Like,
and you know, like that sparks a lot. Like when just hearing what you guys have said, like different things have been sparking in my head. And one thing that I know I definitely struggled with, and I'll definitely say this, is being perceived or being portrayed as the angry black girl. I've just tried to stay like well clear it, to the point where like I've kind of almost held myself back, and I think it's a trait that I feel like I carry with myself, is just like holding back sometimes, and okay, maybe I shouldn't say anything about this because they might look at me like how this stereotype is, so I'm just going to be quiet about that. And I've done that for too long, like to the point where I think where sometimes when I do talk, people like I'm like, oh crap, sorry, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to do anything here, but yeah, it's just one thing that I've struggled with, and I think I still struggle with today.
I was talking to one of my other black friends, and he was telling me about how she'd fallen out of all her housemates because she had put up with their shit for months and months and months, and the second she had finally stood up for herself and been firm and been fair, and I know what she's like, and she wouldn't have been out of order, they just turned around and labelled her as aggressive. And she was like, those white girls literally turned around and stereotyped me and treated me exactly like this aggressive, like, stereotype that black women get. And it's always this thing of white people making black people or minority people feel like they are overreacting, so they don't have to feel guilty about what they're doing and to silence them.
I think, well, I can only speak for myself, but I do think a lot of people of colour feel this way. I feel like I have to overcompensate to show that I'm not aggressive. Like, even when I'm on like the public transport, I'll purposely make sure I'm smiling and make sure that you know that I'm polite, so you don't feel intimidated by my presence. Do you know what I mean? And it's them kind of things that you think we naturally do it every single day.
This whole like little like covert racism and stuff, like me and my mum, you know how tiny we are, we're both under 5 foot. So the only thing that's intimidating about us is like apparently our skin colour. People like lock their cars when they see us walking past. What am I gonna do? I'm 4'11". I'm 8 stone. How am I actually intimidating to you? Like, literally.
Do you think that they have actively seen you and gone, they're black, they're trouble, I'm gonna lock my car? Or do you think it's actually so embedded into society that they've done that without even thinking, as like natural instinct?
Well, that's because I was just reading up about like the microaggression stuff, just so I like knew. And like there's loads of articles saying that people like this like microaggression thing, it's not done purposely. Like, people aren't doing it out of hatred. They just don't know. Their mindset is just like that they don't even know that they're being insulting and things like that. It's literally just like that embedded in them, that they don't know that they're doing it, and they're not doing it on purpose, but that's literally what their bias is.
I went to a school where there was probably 3 or 4 black or minority kids in the whole school, I mean, everyone was white. And when I came to Boa, and it was obviously so different, although I was never racist, I didn't grow up in a school that was multicultural, and I suddenly went to a school that was very multicultural, and it was amazing. But I remember, and it might even have been you, Rachel, like I did full I don't know what the word is because it's not a victim, but I did make the mistake of asking someone if I could touch their hair. And it wasn't until sort of later on, as a teenager, realising that something that I had done so innocently was so inappropriate.
I completely understand with all people that not all white people have been around people of colour. Do you know what I mean? As I said in the video that I posted on my Instagram, a lot of my family, distant family, I could be the only person of colour that they know. The same for my school friends. So there's one thing being curious and there's one thing being rude. And I think now what this has opened up is that it's okay to need to be educated. It's okay. Ask the questions. We are okay with you asking questions. Ask us. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same whether it goes down to I say it about LGBT community, I say it about the black community, I say it about any kind of community that is different. We are okay to answer your questions, but don't offend us. Just ask us. If you're interested about someone's hair, then there's one thing just touch it, and there's one thing saying, do you know what? I've actually never seen your hair texture before. I'm intrigued by it. It's beautiful. I want to feel what it feels like, and that's complimentary. That's inquisitive.
Being able to say, okay, kids, like it's time to learn about the different people who are in the world, the people who you're going to come across when you grow older, and you know, you work and you work with this person and that person. Like, we need to start installing that. Like, education is the key to everything, and if we're not educated enough on anybody, what do we do in the real world? Like, what, are we just going to clash? And that's exactly what's happening now.
Yeah, once you're old enough to be like to know that it's wrong, and you can educate yourself. If you're choosing not to do that, that's when there's an issue.
So obviously, because I didn't know that I was going to split it into two, I didn't really have an outro or an end in there, so it wasn't very smooth. But I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and please stay tuned for part 2, which will be all about the Black Lives Matter movement, and keep this going, guys. But yeah, thank you so much, and all the links below of how you can still help in the UK and abroad with the Black Lives Matter movement. But yeah, stay safe, everybody, and thank you for watching.